Welcome to Spiritually Raw. We expose and explore controversial truths, myths, and theories surrounding the spirit world. Guests include investigators, debunkers, and skeptics of the supernatural, unexplained, and flat-out unimaginable. Content discussed on this show is not necessarily the opinion of the cast of Spiritually Raw, and topics quite often are for mature audiences only. This show is not intended to replace any medical, financial, or legal advice and is for entertainment purposes only. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the ride. Hey everybody, what's going on? I know you have a show to watch, so let me get real quick into this with you. Okay, so Ascended Masters you're watching right now, browse, select, ascend. It's very easy to use. All you have to do is scroll down here. You're going to see the different categories, sessions, courses, products, entertainment, books, conscious business growth. All you do is you simply click on the category that's resonating with you or that you're in need of, and you're going to see a video directory of some of the greatest minds out there. And within 5 to 7 minutes, you'll find out who that person is, what their style is, and if they're going to help you on your journey called life. It's a very easy formula to follow right here. And also too, if you're one of those who does have a product or service that you think that will be a benefit to others and you'd like to be on Ascended Masters, our email is in the description below. It's askspirituallyraw@gmail.com. We'll set up a time to chat and see how you can make a difference in the world for people. So hope you're enjoying the site, everybody. Thanks for sharing this, and much love to you. And most importantly, enjoy the show. We'll see you next time. Hello, everybody. How are you? And welcome to Spiritually Raw. And as always, thank you so much for your energy exchange with us today. And we hope you woke to the most miracle morning and are also having the most fortunate day today. So this isn't something we talk about much on this show, but I have a feeling we're going to. The Secret Space Program.
Yay!
One of your hot topics.
Love it.
And we just got another hot topic person to be able to handle it for us. It's Frank Chille. Like hot and cold. He's here to be able to help explain it to his breakdown and the evidence that he's got. And we've actually got some cool little show and tell stuff to go through this with you too. So before we get to Frank and the Secret Space Program, thanks everybody for hanging out with us as you always do. As you know, to stay connected with us, our links are in the description below. All that stuff you can get connected with us. What am I missing?
Wherever you're watching this from, please do hit the like button. And if you love it as much as I know you're going to, please do share it. We all would surely greatly appreciate it. And if you haven't already downloaded the Apple iOS app, make sure to do so because it makes it so much easier. And if you just want to chill out and watch it from your bed or in the living room, all you have to do is go to Roku and type in Spiritually Raw and it'll pop right up. And
then Frank's information. So Frank's really cool. He's going to be at the Mount Shasta Summer Conference that everybody's talking about coming up July 7th to the 10th. All that information will be in the links below. So definitely check it out. So you'll get to, I'm sure you're going to fall in love with him. And when you do, you'll get to know how to be able to meet him face to face. So that's pretty cool. So,
and that's hosted by Robert Potter for those of you that are very familiar with who Robert is. Okay. So Frank, yes. Let's welcome Frank. Frank Chille. He is a self-proclaimed seeker of arcane knowledge for the past 45 years. He is a student of health, metaphysics, ancient civilizations, religions, and has knowledge of the mostly unknown contactee experiences from individuals that he's met along his life path. He has firsthand exposure to advanced technology products, which we're going to get into. And he's traveled extensively throughout the United States, and he's also lived abroad. Frank has spoken publicly and conducted seminars on diverse subjects on both coasts, as well as for military on subjects including energy studies and lightning effects on health. He's done many radio programs, and he's also an associate producer for Jeff Renzi program. Jeff Ren's program for the past 6 years, as well as he's also, of course, you probably have seen him. He looks familiar because he's also been on GAIA TV as well. Additionally, he's trained individuals as well as marketing teams around the country and has conducted forensic corporate accounting for the Fortune 100 firms for the past three states. Conducted forensic corporate account. That's if you could do that, you could pretty much take on anything.
Your mind calculates that
Holy
way. No
cow.
pun intending there. So hey, welcome, Frank. How are you? Thanks for your time and coming on today. So
it's a joy and a pleasure to join you in April.
Yeah, it really is. Likewise. Okay, so I want to dive right in with you. So like I was sharing earlier, Secret Space Program. We don't often talk about it. We hear about it, but it's just a passing statement there. Secret Space Program. What is it in it, and then what makes it so secret at this point? Let's dive in from that place if we can.
Okay, that's very good. our government has had the ability of being able to back engineer craft that had been recovered from crash retrievals from around the planet. And we've had extensive experience with these technologies to the point that we've been able to develop them, and has allowed one part of our military to go into extreme avenues with it, and it's basically been the U.S. Navy. The Navy has been behind the technology that allows us to go out into the stars. The Air Force was used as a foil. They used the Air Force as like a straw man to make everybody think that the Air Force was investigating all this, while the Navy was actually promoting this and exploring it and moving forward. There's an excellent book that Nick Pope had written. It's called The Search for Zero Point, and it was about determining and finding out more about anti-gravity. And he found one of the original gravity boys that worked for Westinghouse in the early 50s, and they were called the gravity boys, the G boys, because they were tasked with finding how to break gravity. And they found that there were 4 discrepancies in Maxwell's equations, which science bases all their rationale for being able to travel and to be able to oppose gravity or live with gravity. And they broke the bonds of the gravity chain back in the early 50s and allowed us to go out amongst the stars. Yes.
That's a friend right there.
It really is. I really strongly recommend that book. It's called The Search for Zero Point by Nick Cook. And I'd always been interested in UFOs and contactee stories, and I got a chance to move to California, and I met a fellow by the name of Bill Hamilton, who had been a contactee himself. He worked with George Van Tassel in the building of the Integratron in Southern California in the high desert area. And he had some incredible contacts with insiders. And he said, Frank, we had the ability to go to Mars in 1960. And he said, we had bases set up there on Mars in the 60s, and they were sending engineers there, but only engineers that were single for a period of 6 months. They didn't want anybody that had families that they would have to count for their time. So they were told they went overseas, but they were actually on Mars for 6-month periods. And this was in the 1960s. And I didn't know anything more about this until I started putting together pieces. I have a family member. My mom's youngest sister was married to a fellow in the Air Force who went around the world designing closed circuit monitoring systems for missile silos. And he's always known my interest in UFOs. And he would tell me, Frank, they're here. The government knows about them, and not to worry. He would never go into any more detail than that. But sometimes he would make comments like he saw the SR-71 fly as a prototype in 1957, and that was not revealed to the world until like the late 70s, early 80s. But they had that technology in 1957.
When he told, when he was referring to they're here and they've been here for a while, was he specifically talking about one type of race like the Venetians or the Martians or the Palladians, or was he saying speaking in general,
collectively that they're here? He would share with me that the lids on the missile silos were like 15 or 20 tons of reinforced steel and concrete. He said the ships would come over and flip them open just to show that they could do that.
How many different races do they estimate, from your knowledge, that are actually here, cohabitating with us?
Almost 60.
Almost 60. Wow.
That are living on our Earth.
That walk around. Also using Earth as a living place. Some of them are land-based, some of them are sea-based, some of them are underground. And some of them are working with us directly, some are working indirectly, some of them have their own intentions. But they really feel that we're part of a cosmic family, that it's time for us to rejoin this cosmic family. But to bring things up to date more, Major Filer, a fellow that I know, he was an intel officer in the Air Force. He would brief generals and colonels on a daily basis. And he had some extraordinary experiences with craft himself and with the visitors. And he told me that he had done a lecture out in Los Angeles regarding the photos on Mars that are doctored, and there's actually trees and forests on Mars, that there's streams, that there's lakes, and are airbrushed out. And he was showing these photographs at this lecture, and at the end of the lecture, two people from the Jet Propulsion Laboratory came up and they congratulated him. They said, "Thank you for sharing these photos, Major Filer." They said, we deal with this all the time. We have to airbrush them out. And he said, "These are true photographs." And then after that, a fella came up. His name is Dr. Bob Wood. He worked for the Douglas Aircraft. And he said, Frank, he said to George, he said, "I want to introduce you to a fellow by the name of William Tompkins, who works with many different aircraft companies. And he claims to have been working directly with Nordics, who look just like us, that interact with our space program that help in designing craft and designing the ability to be able to go out amongst the stars." And he introduced him to Bill Tompkins.
Real quick. Okay, so when people in our military are working with these extraterrestrial beings that, let's say, look like us, do they know that they are extraterrestrials, or do they think they're just humans working in the space program that are highly...
Some suspect that they're not from Earth because their intelligence level is so astounding. Other people accept them, but they are really puzzled by somebody who has that ability to grasp science and technology to the extent that they do. Mm-hmm. And I've met many people outside of Bill Tompkins who've told me that they're interacting with people at Lockheed or at Boeing, and they feel that these people are not from here. And they said, how do
they establish those kind of relationships? So let's say, for example, someone, from Lockheed or Boeing, if you would, and then you have an extraterrestrial being that looks a lot like us, but just has that innate ability to just process science like you're sharing. How do they, number one, identify them? How do they, let's say, recruit them? What's that process even looking like? Do they have like a somewhat of a place and say, "Hey, we kind of need your mind here. We know who you are. Come here." Or does the person there get somehow, are they programmed in any way during that process to be that?
To work at those facilities? Is that what you're saying, Jay?
Yeah.
Some of them come in and are hires, okay? And I've been told that some of the space beings that are visiting down here, since they don't age, they only stay at their work facility for a period of 5 to 6 years, and then they move on to another one because they don't age. And they don't want people to see that they don't age.
They don't want, right, exactly. And
if I could share this with you, April,
sure.
People who've met and worked alongside these individuals say that the men are impeccable. There's no blemishes on their face. The women are impeccable. There's no blemishes at all. Their eyes are crystal clear. Everything about them is just perfect. Mm-hmm. And they kind of stand out because they have no blemishes.
Would there be like if we were to take a look, I don't want everybody to overanalyze everybody they see, but if you take a look at like people, for example, would they be blonde haired, blue eyed generally, traditionally? Would they be black hair, brown eyes? Would they be just all over the place?
All over. They could be blonde, could be chestnut colored brown hair, it could be anything. It could be anything.
Got it.
And are they like interstellar? Do they live here, but also can go back to their home base in and out frequently?
They travel back and forth.
They travel, and do they do that through like a Stargate that is located in our secret space program, or are they doing that through their motherships or their ships?
They do it multiple ways. You brought up a good topic, the portal concept. Bill Tompkins, and we haven't gotten into it yet, he told me when he was working for the Navy that the Navy had discovered that there was a portal in Northern Virginia. And he said after they discovered a portal there, he said they went around the planet and he said they discovered 24 portals and they put together a map. And you're going to find this hard to believe, but on the History Channel on Ancient Astronauts, one of the segments was on portals. And he happened to show the map that Bill Tompkins had mentioned to me, showing the 24 different portals around the country, around the world.
Around the world.
Amazing. They know that they exist. And as another aside, Colonel Donald Ware, who supplied me with a copy of the Rockwell chart, which we're going to get into, he had supplied it to me and he told me, he said, "Frank," he said, "the Pentagon has meetings and lunches on the moon." And he said, what they do is they leave the Pentagon, and he said, they travel west, and he said, they go through a gate or a portal, and he said, 5 minutes later, they're on the moon. And he said, they have lunch up there, they have meetings up there, And he said they come back and they come back in 5 minutes. So they're using
that's mind-boggling.
So like you're going to be doing an event there, you know, in the summer conference, Mount Shasta. Is there a portal there? There's a lot of people doing their events there. Is there a portal there that you're aware of?
I'm aware that Shasta is very, very special, that there's a secret city inside of it, that people have been taken inside the mountain and have had experiences, and I'll be happy to share those with you at some point. And that there are beings who visit. They come to the surface area because they live inside the mountain, and they visit with people in the area. And people have seen ships go into the side of the mountain almost as if there's an invisible gate there and come out of the mountain. So I would say, yes, there's a portal there.
You know, I want to ask you this, is that, do you think like with the secret Space Force and all this disclosure that everybody talks about releasing this, is there any country in the world that we know of that's pretty free flowing with this information with their people, their citizens, their constituents, or is it a global, you know, kind of cover up from every country and be like, this is exactly what's happening? Or is it just something we're in the Western world, we're hearing more of it?
Well, it's basically extensively going on around the planet. Russia and China are aware of this information. The visitors themselves are pushing the agenda for disclosure because they said it's time that all this be revealed. And they're planting all these foundational stones. You'll see a lot of stuff on the Discovery Channel, on the History Channel. They're getting people more aware of what's going on. And with all the videos of craft that you see that people are posting on social media, it's getting people used to seeing things in the sky.
Exactly. Frank, you hit the $1 million word, disclosure. It's people, disclosure, disclosure, disclosure. But you're actually saying that they're saying, the extraterrestrials, that they're ready to have this come out into the open. If so, from your perspective and your research, when do you think in our time frame that this might happen, and how would it happen? What would they be planning to do? Like literally bring down the mothership, or how do they want to?
I think it's going to be a rollout in many different stages to get people acclimated to this, and I think it's going to be done on a religious, a political, and a social type of scale. They're working behind the scenes. Colonel Ware had told me that it's like 80% green light from his sources behind the scenes. And he said the other 20% are receding quickly, getting more in line with coming forward with this, because it's going to change everything as we know it. It's going to change everything.
What are we people to their knees?
Yeah, for sure. What are we looking at here? This illustration I have up here, Frank. What are we looking at on that one?
This is a drawing that Bill Tompkins did of the landing on the moon. And when Armstrong landed, the crater that they landed in, all these extraterrestrial ships were alongside the rim of the moon.
Now,
of this crater. He saw this himself because he was able to see the footage that was not shown to the public because there were many different channels broadcasting during that event.
I have a couple questions, but before I get to the one question I wanted to ask you, how far advanced are we with the secret space program? Because many people think, oh, maybe it's just like a couple hundred years, but you have a different philosophy.
The secret space program is actually more than 1,000 years in advance of what the public knows.
That in itself is mind-boggling.
Yes. When I received the Rockwell chart from Colonel Ware, he wanted me to share it with Bill Tompkins, with Dr. Bob Wood, who also worked in the secret program at Douglas Aircraft, but he didn't know that there was a more secret program that Bill Tompkins was working in that was designing craft to go off planet. And some of the craft that Bill designed were 17 kilometers long, okay? You can go back to that.
How many football fields would that be?
It's 15 miles long.
15 miles.
15 miles long, okay?
Wow.
And he told me, he said, Frank, he said, we have the ability to go from the Earth to the middle of our galaxy in 45 minutes. And he said the 6 groups that they are using in Solar Warden is part of the secret space program. It's the Navy program. He said they use anti-gravity. And he said they're working on 3 groups. And he continued to work on these craft up until the time he passed in 2017. he said they were going to be using a propulsion that was faster than light. And he said, what do you conceive of that's faster than light? And I said to him, Bill, there's only one thing I know that's faster than light, and it's thought. And he said, you're absolutely right. You could think of the furthest point in the galaxy or the universe and be there instantaneously.
Like that. Thought propulsion?
Yep, the thought propulsion is utilizing metallurgy with awareness and consciousness. And a physicist that I was turned on to by another physicist, his name is Dr. Jack Sarfati. He's had his own experiences with craft, and he has an incredible newsletter called, or he's got an incredible website called stardrive.org. And he sent me 24 pages of equations that link metallurgy with awareness and consciousness for thought propulsion. And I said to him, I said, Dr. Sarfati, I said, could this be the means that the visitors are using to traverse vast distances to come here? Mm-hmm. He said, absolutely. And he said, we have the ability to back engineer what they have, but we're not at the point yet where we could back engineer or line atoms the way they do. But he said, that's the next form of propulsion we're going to be utilizing.
I have so many
I know
questions.
you do. I want to dive one in and get one in with Frank here.
Okay.
So.
This is one of the craft that Bill designed, okay? Yeah. And it's a small model, but this craft has the ability of being able to go out into deep space, and it's got smaller craft inside of it that they could eject to go out and do whatever they need to do. So this is like a small mothership for the Navy.
And would this be the 16-kilometer one?
No. This is a pretty good size one, but the one that you showed originally where he's holding up a chart, paper, that shows the 17-kilometer craft that he designed.
Okay, and why is he illustrating a quarter next to it? What's the symbolism with the quarter?
Well, just to show the scale of that, just the scale of it.
I got you. Okay, got it. Okay.
That was a much larger craft. But Jay, if you could go back to like the first photograph or
the sketch one.
Yeah.
Keep going. Yes. That if you could zoom in on that, that's a 17-kilometer craft that he had designed. Wow. And there's smaller ones that could go in the side of it. It's unbelievable. And
how many people would that hold?
17 kilometers. That's
right. Is that like 100,000 people?
Probably 50,000 easily.
Yeah.
When
that's about 8.5 miles or somewhere in that area, right?
He said
15 miles. 15 miles.
Wow, that's crazy.
And okay, so oh my God, it's just like
he had help with this. Bill Tompkins had help with these. His book that he wrote called Selected by Extraterrestrials. He was one of 500 individuals who were asked to come down here to be part of a program to elevate consciousness and help elevate people's ability to be able to accept things and to be able to solve problems. And
was he an extraterrestrial himself?
I think, well, he said, Frank, my mom was a very strange woman in the sense that she didn't look like any of her sisters. And he said, she was beautiful and flawless. And I said, Bill, perhaps your mother was a Nordic. And he said, Frank, she was. Wow. So he's one of 500 children that came down here through Nordic women and was born here. And he had the ability to be able to telepath. He had the ability to be able to bilocate. At the age of 5, he could be in 2 places at the same time with full awareness and full consciousness of his mind and his body. And he thought everybody had that ability, but he came to realize that we don't. So he kept a lot of that to himself. But he talked about traveling and going off planet in his other body and seeing individuals that he would see when he grew up into a man that he would be interacting with. And when he started working in the secret compartment of Douglas aircraft, there were 2 women that worked with him, 2 Nordic women, and the women looked just like Earth women. And there was a guy that was with them, there was a male, he was also a star visitor too. There'd always be one male with 2 females, and one male was basically there to protect the women from anything that would, try to interact with them. And right. He had the ability to be able to mentally telepath with them, and they would give him the ideas and the thoughts for the craft that he was working on. And I said, Bill, how would it come to you? He said, it would be like a flash of light in my mind. And he said, I would see in detail what it is that I needed to design. And I said, was it like at the holograph level? And he said, no. He said, it was more intense than that. And I said, how would you describe it? He said, I could see things at the circuit level. he was brilliant, just really brilliant. Go ahead.
Let me ask
he had to be extraterrestrial.
Let me ask you a couple of things here. So I want to kind of rip off or just talk about the elephant in the room, if you would. So we talked a little bit about, the rollout and it being done in religious and political ways. So just, I guess, a knee-jerk reaction. If you roll it out as a religious, let's say the religious organizations roll out the disclosure, if you would, here's what's happening. Are they holding back on that? Because does that invalidate what they've actually been teaching all these years by having these beings saying, okay, they're real here, and maybe have we mistaken them for the gods, goddesses, angels, whatever, but they're actually our celestial brothers and sisters.
That's exactly right.
They were
advanced beings who came here, and their presence was taken out of context because they're so evolved that they thought of them as gods. And they don't want to be thought of that way. They just want to be considered more aware brothers and sisters. They said, we're all part of the same family. And a lot of them are a lot more advanced because our part of the solar system, or our solar system as part of the Milky Way, is in the youngest part of the Milky Way. There's other parts of the Milky Way that are billions of years older than the part to where our solar system is in. So that's billions of years of technology that's far advanced than we currently are.
So let me ask you this, and again, I'm just kind of getting back to just from a layman's point of view on this. So if I'm a religious organization and I say, okay, I'm going to roll this out now, my first question to you is, why didn't you tell me this before? Isn't this going to create anarchy?
Or are they not going to roll it out?
Hello, everybody. How are you? Much love to you. It's very good to see you and hang out with you. I hope you're having a fantastic day here. So let me give you some updates about what's going on with Spiritually Raw. So as you can see right here, right, a new facelift. I hope you like it. Okay, so this is the new facelift, the image of the site. So watch Evolve Ascend. It's very cool, very streamlined. Everything's broken down in very easy catalogs, playlists for you to watch whatever kind of topic you're looking for to help you on your journey called life. So let's check it out together. All right. So literally here you go, the homepage right here. You can scroll down. If you're already a member, same login and password as you normally do. If you're not, you can click right here, join now, get a 3-day free trial, check out and binge on the whole network as much as you want. I hope you like it, and I'm sure you will, but that's 3 days on us. Okay, so don't forget to check that out if you're not already. Here's some videos that are recent that we just put up there that you'll be able to check here. Now, also too, I want to go back here real quick, catalog. So this is how we've broken it down for you. Super simple and very easy playlist, new releases, intuitive psychic mediums, the Great Awakening, metaphysical, current events, 2020 videos for those of you who want to take a trip down memory lane and see how that all worked out. Prosperity, special report, I mean, so on and so forth. I mean, it goes on and on. We have really brought together the best minds out there that are coming in to entertain us, but then to break it down so simple, again, to help us on our journey called life. So this is really cool here. So also, I want to point out here for those of you who have actually said, hey, you know, I do want to have my own show. We also have a master course preview, and that's there to designed to teach all of you who would like to have your own show, or maybe even need some help in being interviewed when you are on other shows too. But let's go down a little further. I want to show you something else. So for all of you out there who have Roku, you simply need to click here and you can now watch us on Roku TV. Coming soon within the coming weeks, within probably a week or so, you'll see us on the iPhone, Apple. We're streaming everywhere. You'll be able to download the app soon on Apple. But as of right now, like I said, you can stream us anywhere there. So, and these are some examples of the topics that you're going to be watching when you do go to spirituallyraw.live. So thank you very, very much for hanging out with us as you always do. Really do hope you are having the most miracle mornings and are having the most fortunate days. And this really is bringing you a lot of value. And again, helping you on your journey called life. So thanks again, and we will see you all next time.
We'd like to share a story. While it may sound fictional, it's very real and happening right now in front of our very eyes. It's called the Great Awakening. Our sisters and brothers that come on Spiritually Raw are doing everything to help expand global consciousness, and in many cases putting everything on the line to share their messages about what's happening around the world for the greater good of humanity. We are living in the most unbelievable times. Some may even say biblical, scary for many and yet exhilarating for others. Together we are taking part in getting everyone acclimated to the Great Awakening process and the exciting new discoveries that lie ahead. The sad part is many of our amazing guests are being heavily censored, socially shamed, and outright banned on many platforms for exposing the truth and piercing the veil. By becoming a viewer, you bring your powerful energy towards this global movement of other truth seekers. If you're resonating with our show, please let us know by hitting the like button, sharing, subscribing, turn on the notification, and leave some comments. Together, we will turn the universal key to global harmony and create a unified world. And remember, tune in often, tell all your friends, and most importantly, may all your dreams come true. Thanks, and God bless Patriots worldwide.